Hey everyone, so today we're talking about the Huawei Nova 3. Now both the Nova 3 and 3i seem to be selling quite well, and while Nova 3i is the successor to last year's Nova 2i, the 3 is Huawei's take on premium mid-rangers. We already did a hands-on review on this phone, so you might be pretty familiar with the basics, and today we dive down to the depths and let you know if the phone is really worth the money. First up, let's talk about the design. In terms of looks, it's safe to say that the phone is an eye candy. It's available in two different colors, black and iris purple, and this one in particular, the iris purple, is really appealing. With its blue and purple gradient that looks quite stunning, it's sure to turn a few heads. The metal build is sturdy, and as already mentioned before, this phone has got this premium weight, not too heavy and not too light. The glass back feels very nice on the hands. Even though it's slippery, the 3D curved design with the metal frame counters the slipperiness, making it easy to hold. However, the price you pay for these gorgeous looks are finger smudges. Also, I'm really glad that it still has the headphone jack, as the P20 Pro didn't have one. Overall, the Huawei Nova 3 has a small form factor and is aesthetically as well as visually pleasing. I'm sure that you will agree that the design is really one of the best things about this phone. On the display front, the 6.3-inch full view display with minimum bezels looks good. Yes, there is the infamous notch, but considering it houses two cameras, an IR sensor and a speaker, it's actually pretty small, unlike, say, the Xiaomi Mi 8. Still, apps aren't optimized to fit in with the notch, which gets in the way of your viewing experience. And like most other phones, you can turn it off too. The notch is small, but due to that very reason, the LED notification rests behind the speaker grill. And at most times, it's not even visible when you get notifications. The IPS LCD display with Full HD Plus resolution portrays vivid and sharp colors for both text and pictures. With an aspect ratio of 19.5:9 and pixel density of 409 ppi, everything on the screen appears pleasing to the eye. Brightness levels are good enough to allow sunlight visibility too. I really would have liked the phone to have the always-on display because the Face ID can sometimes get in the way when you only want to look at the time. Overall, the Nova 3 features a great display, one that cannot outshine the flagships of 2018, but it comes pretty close. This is one of the few phones to sport quad cameras. There are two cameras at the back, a 16-megapixel primary sensor with face detection autofocus and a 24-megapixel monochrome sensor, both with f1.8 aperture. The monochrome camera lets you take true grayscale pictures, not just colors removed from regular ones. But since we rarely take monochrome photos, I wish Huawei would have included a different kind of sensor, maybe say a telephoto lens. Even though it lacks a depth sensor, the bokeh mode on this phone is quite good. You can tell by just looking at the images. However, in low lighting conditions, its edge detection seems to be a bit off, and you get quite the amount of noise. Also, autofocus is a bit slow in low light and gets some motion blur. It's safe to say that low light images aren't very appealing. The Nova 3 also flaunts AI cameras, which can distinguish between various elements and change the pictures accordingly. And while it does help out in certain scenarios, it's more of a hit and a miss. Mostly, it oversaturates greens, yellows, and reds, so sceneries might come out unnatural. However, food photography will look very appealing for the same reason. For some outdoor shots like those overlay weather scenes, the AI makes it more pleasant to the eyes. It actually comes down to your preference, whether you prefer natural colors or the ones that please you visually. The 24-megapixel plus the 2-megapixel selfie cameras take outstanding selfies. The 2-megapixel depth sensor helps produce quite good portrait selfies. There's also a beauty mode on it, and it does a good job of hiding the blemishes and lightening your face with the right levels. However, the lack of any kind of image stabilization on these cameras is a downer, and it's more annoying in videos. They shake quite a bit, and even your slightest bit of movement can ruin your video moments. At this price point, Huawei could have at least implemented an EIS, but it didn't. The rear camera can record 4K videos at 60 frames per second, while the front can record 1080p videos at the same frame rates. However, other than the lack of OIS, videos are decent in daylight with good audio recording as well. You can also shoot short bursts of 480 frames per second slow motion videos, but the quality is strictly average. And there's the AR lens as well, with various effects for your photos and videos. You can definitely have some fun with it when you're bored. It's there for entertainment purposes, but that's it, just a gimmick actually. Overall, the cameras on the Huawei Nova 3 are great as well, but the single factor that pulls them down is the lack of image stabilization in them. Talking about the performance, the Nova 3 features Huawei's own Kirin 970 chipset, which you get on Huawei's flagships, like on the P20 Pro. Couple that with 6GB of RAM and you get a speedy device with zero lags and stutters. Multitasking goes on without a hitch, and I experienced no lags while gaming. I played a lot of Asphalt 9, which seemed to run without a single stutter. Heavy games like Injustice 2 run smooth as well. The phone does heat up fairly quickly though. In my experience, the temperature maxed out at 38.7 degrees centigrade during some PUBG session in HD graphics and high frame rates, and I think that's actually somewhat normal with many phones. The phone runs on Android 8.1 with EMUI 8.2. Like all other skins, it comes with some bloatware and pre-installed apps too. While the pre-installed apps can be rid of, the bloatware stays. The EMUI skin will also need some getting used to, and there are also some customization options for you to choose from. As for the storage, the Huawei Nova 3 comes only in the 128GB option in Nepal, and while there isn't micro SD card slot in it, the 128GB should be more than enough to store everything you need. Just like other phones in this price bracket, the Nova 3 has a large price of 3750 mAh with fast charge feature. The battery lasts the whole day easily with sessions of gaming, videos, casual web surfing and everything. The fast charge helps fully charge your phone in under 2 hours, but it's not as fast as the OnePlus Dash Charge. I have no complaints on the Huawei Nova 3 about the design, performance and battery. The face recognition and the fingerprint sensor work pretty fast too. However, the display needs to be optimized for the notch and the cameras could have been made a little bit better. If only they could have included image stabilization on the cameras, then maybe it could have competed with the flagship cameras even. The Huawei Nova 3 overall seems to be a pretty good phone. Since there aren't many phones in the 50,000 to 60,000 price bracket range, you might not know what to expect. But if you want something better, you have to put in a lot of cash. For example, the OnePlus 6. Nova 3 costs 59,900 rupees. And for that, I think it justifies the price, especially considering it costs rupees 35,000 in India. So for that price, I think the Huawei Nova 3 justifies its worth. It has its share of shortcomings, but there are things that make it a great purchase. All in all, I would say the Nova 3 is pretty close to a home run. So that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Please follow our channel for more reviews and news. Until next time, I'm Johnson Shrestha for Gadget Byte, signing off.